Hello, my name is Chris Clellan. I'm a certified financial planner with American Senior Benefits here in Farmington, Connecticut. One area of concentration for me is Medicaid financial planning. I find that Medicaid financial planning is a fairly specialized demographic, can have 100+ moving parts. Things like investment portfolios, insurance, tax, and estate planning, and 100 subcategories under each of those. I've even had some people say, oh, I'll just do it myself. I wouldn't recommend you do that. There are 3 massive parts to Medicaid planning, and as I said, with a multitude of subcategories for each part. I break them down into 3 sections. Part 1, the team. Part 2, the process. And Part 3, the plan. I work with a team of legal and tax experts that help the client formulate the most complete and comprehensive strategy available. We believe that having a team approach utilizing the best professionals in each area of expertise is the best way to achieve success. So what is Medicaid and why is it important? If you're watching this video, clearly you have some concerns about yourself or loved ones that could be in a spend down, asset reduction, or a protection type situation. So as a little background, Medicaid was created in 1965 along with Medicare. Don't confuse the two entirely different things. It is used to help economically challenged folks with basic needs of living. There is also another component of Medicaid that assists people that are medically challenged and need some specific type of care for medical conditions, the most common being chronic illness leading to a skilled nursing scenario. In foresight, state governments have built in legal and financial safeguards for certain situations involving income and assets. Interestingly enough, though not surprising, many of these are quite different state to state. So let's break down a Medicaid financial planning scenario for Connecticut, and I'll try to give you a preliminary list of things that you should consider as you go down the path. Keep in mind that Medicaid is state-specific again, I can't emphasize that enough, and the rules can change depending on where you live. As I said earlier, I like to approach these cases from a team approach concept. Not everybody knows everything about everything, so a team is always better. So the team that I like to work with consists of 5 members. The client and/or the client's family, the financial advisor or CFP in my case, the attorney, legal expert, the CPA or tax expert, and the medical team. The dynamics of the client family or spouse is how everything is designed. Every family is different, therefore every plan seems to be a little different. And the first challenge that needs to be overcome is educating the family on all the choices that need to be made to make this plan successful. The financial advisor can sometimes be the glue that connects all the dots together for the family if the financial advisor specializes in Medicaid planning. If not, then the attorney usually picks up this role to some degree and coordinates the activities of everyone. Some challenges can arise if the attorney is not well versed in all the financial aspects of the client financial plan. However, generally the financial advisor and the attorney work hand in glove to make this a seamless process. So let's talk about the attorney a little bit. The attorney typically coordinates the legal Medicaid plan and ensures all parties are following the law and not doing anything that will hinder the plan moving forward as quickly as possible. As with anything else, make sure the attorney is well versed in current Medicaid law. Don't get a real estate attorney to do a Medicaid plan. Common sense, it's part of their everyday practice. They're typically an elder care law attorney and their pricing seems reasonable. More on that later. Medicaid is a free program that's not free. We can't even make this stuff up. So the next guy on the list is a CPA or tax expert. He or she is the person that generally filters all the financial data and previous tax information to make sure that we're in compliance with all the current tax laws and to ensure we don't expose ourselves to any tricky tax exceptions that we might otherwise miss. And finally, the medical team is extremely important to understanding which direction we are going to take with this plan. The proximity of the medical facilities being utilized, the type of care being rendered, and the prognosis are all critical parts that will determine the best strategy to coordinate with. Well, now that we have a team, what's next? As we discussed earlier, typically clients are referred to us via an attorney, another center of influence, or another client. Both the attorney and financial advisor have a checklist of things that we need to gather to make sure we have all the information required by the Medicaid program. In my opinion, the first thing we should ask is how is everyone doing from the family dynamic standpoint? Is there anything that is causing chaos right now that we have to fix to make sure that family is on the safe footing? Does everyone get along? Once that is taken care of, the next thing is to review the list of documents that's going to be required to complete the application. And it's massive. I'm going to give you a few examples here. All financial and banking records over the last 5 years. Any financial transfers greater than $1,000 over the last 5 years. Copies of deed to all properties. If you own a business, we will need an audited valuation of that business. Copy of all registrations for all vehicles. Copies of all insurance policies, medical, life, long-term care, disability. A date of institutionalization if that's applicable. Considerations for facilities being considered for care. Copies of documents for prepaid funerals and/or grave sites. Copies of documents for all sources of income. Copies of all legal documents, wills, living wills, healthcare proxies, durable power of attorneys, HIPAA agreements, DNRs, trusts, prenups, etc. Once we have gathered all this information, then we can figure out how the assets and income stack up against the Medicaid financial hurdles in the state in which you reside, in this case, Connecticut. So let's talk about excludable assets for a moment. Medicaid also has some assets that are excluded from consideration in qualifying for this program. So for 2021, a primary residence, one vehicle, and yes, a Ferrari can be excluded. 1/2 combined assets up to $130,380 for the community spouse. Assets for the institutionalized spouse is limited to $1,600. Income for the community spouse is unlimited. More on that later. Income for the institutionalized spouse is $60 a month. To clarify, any income the applicant receives is counted. Assets held in trust or transferred later than 60 months and 1 day are excluded. So to summarize, the community spouse can hold $130,380 in assets. The community spouse can have unlimited income. The primary residence and one car are excluded. Transfers greater than 5 years are excluded. The institutionalized spouse can have $1,600 in assets and $60 a month in income. All other income goes to the skilled facility. So once we understand the assets, the hurdles and exceptions, we can start to piece together a plan to protect assets in the most effective way. So to summarize where we are right now, if you're considering Title 19, I would recommend the following. Number 1, determine the need. Is Title 19 the best option? Number 2, identify the team. 9 times out of 10 for families protecting assets, the attorney leads the way. Gather all the data. Arrange the financial assets and income with the approval of the attorney to meet Title 19 standards. If these are not done perfectly, you run the risk of the application being denied and months of hard work down the drain. The last part is the application. This is a 22-page document with a tractor trailer full of supporting paperwork. Everything has to line up, no mistakes. So I think here's a good place to end this portion of the Title 19 process. We talked about the team, we covered the basic points of the process itself. The next part is the plan. I'll go over a few case studies and explain exactly what we did and how we solved the challenges ahead. So if you have any questions on this video, please click on the link below and I'll be happy to speak with you directly. Thanks again for watching.